Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we have some very important technical analysis to do on Bitcoin because in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys a pattern that has been repeating itself ever since the inception of Bitcoin trading. In fact, this pattern is so fundamental to how Bitcoin operates, it's surprising to me that more people are not concerned about this. As you guys know, Bitcoin has just kicked off a major bull market, and by the way, I'm not denying that. I think we're going back to $20,000, but in the short term, I do see an issue that we need to discuss very, very abruptly. But we do need to talk about what I see on the chart because if Bitcoin repeats history, it's going to be very bad for the next couple of months on Bitcoin. With that in mind, guys, we're also going to be diving a little bit deeper into the PayPal news and what it actually means for Bitcoin. There's been a lot of FOMO, there's been a lot of hype, there's been a lot of excitement about PayPal stepping in to the cryptocurrency space, but I want to make sure you actually know what it means for crypto. Is it as bullish as we think? We're going to discuss all of that and more in today's video. Guys, I think you're going to get a lot of great value out of today's video. If you do, as always, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. But without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. This video is sponsored by our very own Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. CT2A has been around for a couple of years now, and in that time, CT2A has helped all of our students learn how to read markets, analyze markets, and trade those markets for profit. It's incredibly important that you guys invest in your education, and if you join CT2A today, you will be able to do that all in one place. Guys, we're about to get into the video, but before we do, I first want to mention our Instagram because we're doing a lot over there now, actually, and we have an amazing artist named Gia who is making posts to it several times a week. If you go and follow us at CryptoJeb on Instagram, you're going to see all this stuff. It's a really awesome place, and you should totally go follow us. Anyway, guys, getting started with today's video, we have some very important analysis to do. And essentially what we are looking at here today is a cyclical market. Guys, you hear me say all the time that Guys, we have some very important analysis to do in today's video, and it all boils down to something that I keep saying on this channel, and that is that markets are cyclical. There are only so many patterns that a market can really do when you look at it from a macro perspective, and those patterns repeat themselves. We see bull markets repeating themselves interspersed by bear markets and accumulation phases. We see Bitcoin rally and then crash and then rally again right back to where it started, right back into rally. We see the volume go up and the volume go down. We see the RSI go up and the RSI go down. We see adoption go up. We see adoption go down. We see interest go up. We see interest go down. These things are cyclical. They repeat themselves. You can't set a clock by it. It doesn't always happen at the same frequency, but it does happen over and over and over again. And one of those cyclical market trends is the one I need to show you. As you guys can see, I have it all plotted on my chart, but let's go back to basics real quick. What do you see when you look at this market? I'll tell you what I see. I see one bull market, a second bull market, and a third bull market. All three of them currently with lower highs, by the way. But what I also see based on those highs is that when Bitcoin hits that high, the bull market ends. But what I also see is that when Bitcoin hits those highs, the bull market ends. I suppose Bitcoin hitting a high and then pulling back following that is a truism that you probably, hopefully already know, but it's important because we see a cycle. We see a cycle of a low, followed by a rally, followed by a high, followed by a downtrend, followed by a low, followed by a rally, followed by a high, etc., etc. But what that long-term chart does in ease of explanation, it fails with in resolution. Because if you zoom in on the chart and you look at the daily and the RSI, you see that Bitcoin is actually doing a lot of rallies and downtrends inside those larger rallies and downtrends. That's why you have rallies and downtrends inside of bull markets and bear markets. It's a time frame problem. It's a resolution problem. So let's go back to this chart right here. I have all of these lines here and they're all color-coded. I'm going to get to what they mean in a second. But the first thing I want to bring your attention to is this rally that we've just entered. Notice on our Bollinger Bands, how far extended is Bitcoin? Quite far. In fact, we're getting support above the second standard deviation right here. This means that Bitcoin has moved very, very quickly and is traditionally an example of an overextended market. We saw something similar happen back here where Bitcoin got overextended, traded sideways back into the bands, and then it was able to rally. What do you notice about all these vertical lines that I have on my chart? Now putting one right where we are now. Everywhere I have a vertical line is where Bitcoin started getting overextended on those Bollinger Bands. And every single one of those lines I've actually put in these locations because this is where Bitcoin got overextended on its RSI. If we zoom in here, you can see that Bitcoin's RSI at the moment is sitting nearly 80. Now, most of these levels hit 80 on the RSI, but I want you to notice something. Most of these times that Bitcoin hit 80 on the RSI, what followed? Downtrend, downtrend, downtrend on these three examples. I've color-coded these so that blue represents a high, a peak on RSI, and a peak in Bollinger Bands followed by rally. After the blue, we can see that Bitcoin rallied even though it was overextended. After red, we can see that Bitcoin pulled back after it was overextended. Blue, it rallied. The question then becomes, what color do we make this vertical line right here? Do we make it blue or red? Well, obviously, we don't know yet because Bitcoin, you know, I can't see into the future. I don't have a crystal ball. I got sunglasses, but I don't have a crystal ball. So if you do, you can send us one and we'll do an unboxing with it, but I don't have one. The point I'm making here is that Bitcoin's rally looks very similar to both the blue and the red. Specifically, though, it looks very similar to that first red vertical. And here's why. Notice, we had two blue verticals, those, of course, representing Bitcoin getting overextended and rallying to follow. And then there was a third one. There were 1, 2, 3 rallies on RSI into overextended territory. In this case, in this bull market that started back in March, Bitcoin has hit overextended on RSI once, twice, 3 times. The last bull market, the third overextension, was a red vertical, meaning that Bitcoin started to pull back. Now, guys, I very much believe that Bitcoin is going to continue this bull market. However, I am concerned about what takes place in the next 45 days because when Bitcoin gets overextended, unless Bitcoin has time to consolidate, it goes into a new bear market, or at least a new downtrend. The danger with Bitcoin right now is that it's very overextended on RSI. It's very overextended on volume. It has rallied quite a lot, but it's rallied because of passing news. We're going to get to the PayPal news here in a little bit. I am very excited about Bitcoin. I have been preaching the gospel of bullish fundamentals for the last year. I fully believe that Bitcoin will be trading at $20,000 within the next 12 months, so don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. That being said, the path to getting there is very much up for debate. So here is exactly what Bitcoin needs to do to be healthy. It needs to stop this rally. It needs to pause. It needs to trade sideways for a week or a week and a half. It needs to lock in gains. It needs to consolidate. It needs to build VPVR support. It needs to see a return of volume. It needs to see a return of retail investor interest. It needs to see a return of interest from everyone. We need to see more interest in the YouTube space. We need to see our fundamentals, good as they are now, continue to build. The shorter term ones in particular. When Bitcoin does that, and after Bitcoin has traded sideways for a little while, resetting its RSI and pulling back into the upper regions of the Bollinger Bands, then we will have liberty to break bullish and continue rallying. Here's the problem, and I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people in the comment section that didn't watch this far in the video saying, Jab, what about this? I'm about to talk about it. It's the consolidation pattern down on the hourly chart because quite frankly, Bitcoin may have broken bullish by the time this video goes live. Taking a look at the hourly chart, we can see the last 48 hours or so on Bitcoin have painted a very clear picture. We have a downtrend of resistance and an uptrend of support. Looks very much like a consolidation pattern to me. And by the way, guys, go check your charts because Bitcoin is almost certainly going to break out. I couldn't tell you which direction Bitcoin's going to break. Honestly, with all the hype right now, it would not surprise me if we broke to the upside, but because I don't have enough data on that, I'm not going to make a call on it. The point I want to make is that yes, I do see the consolidation pattern. Yes, I do see a very large potential for Bitcoin to break to the upside. So don't get anything I said in this video twisted. I'm not saying that Bitcoin has to consolidate. I'm not saying that Bitcoin has to pull back. I'm saying it would be good for Bitcoin to do so, and beware if it doesn't. Because if Bitcoin continues this rally too far, too quickly, without stopping for gas, bad things are going to happen. We're going to run out of gas on the side of the interstate, and then we're going to fall. We're going to crash. Bitcoin needs to rally a little bit slower. I enjoy Bitcoin rallies just as much as you guys do, but for the long-term health of the market, we must not follow what happened at the end of the two previous bull markets. Because both of these bull markets, this bull market here and this bull market here, ended when Bitcoin started rallying too fast. At the end of this bull market, Bitcoin rallied 246% in 36 days. At the end of this bull market, Bitcoin rallied 85% in 19 days. But if you'll notice, they ended there. Why did they end there? Because every other rally in this Bitcoin bull market, for example, rallied significantly slower. It rallied locking in gains. Bitcoin has a fundamental reason to go to $20,000 and beyond, but the way we get there is going to determine how quickly we get there. The slower we move, the more healthily we move, the more steady we move, the faster we're actually going to get there, even if we're not moving as fast this month or next month. It's sustainability. It's a sustainability issue. It's a sustainability issue is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, guys, that's my take on the market. I want to see Bitcoin rally slow. I don't want to see Bitcoin rally quickly, and the reason goes back to the same thing with making money. Normally, you don't want to get rich quickly because if you got rich quickly, you've probably built a poor foundation, and then you will get poor very quickly. If you get rich slowly, it normally is indicative of you building a strong foundation, which means if you do start to become broke again, it's probably going to be a slower process. That's a bit of a truism also. That's something that's well understood in business business is that the slower your rise, the more controlled, specifically your rise, the slowness being a side effect of that control, the more likely it is that you'll sustain it. There are a lot of companies that do this and then do that. But normally when a company is just on a slow, gradual rise, it will go exponential in time, but it might not do it overnight. I want to see Bitcoin do the second. I want to see it do the latter. I want to see it pull a Google when Google was nothing for the first 5 or 6 years of their existence, but now they're one of the biggest companies on the planet. I want Bitcoin to do that, and I believe it will, but we need to control the hype and the FOMO. In that spirit, we need to talk about the PayPal news, because not everyone in the cryptocurrency industry is thrilled about the PayPal news, reads this headline from Cointelegraph. I'm going to skip over part of this, but I'm going to go ahead and read from one of the quotes here. Long term, if PayPal proceeds without consulting the community and letting their users control their own keys, it offers no value to the space. The greatest risk is that the clout they carry in traditional electronic payments will be interpreted as expertise in crypto. This would threaten the expert advice so carefully crafted by our community, which could be drowned out by the misinformed masses that PayPal brings to the space. The reason this is a concern is because while PayPal is stepping into the space, it goes back to the issue of not your keys, not your coins. What does it really mean for PayPal to be stepping into the space? Yes, they definitely kicked off a lot of hype. Yes, there's definitely a lot of interest in Bitcoin right now, but what service are they providing? The service that they're providing is the ability for you to buy and sell crypto on PayPal. It's not an exchange. You can't take it off. You never get access to your private keys if you bought it on PayPal. So at the end of the day, what is the actual benefit here? Bringing people into the cryptocurrency space and seeing Bitcoin? Well, if you can't take Bitcoin off of PayPal, then we might as well put the word PayPal in front of Bitcoin and call it PayPal's Bitcoin. It's not our Bitcoin. It's not the same Bitcoin. It may be on the same blockchain, but it's significantly different if you have to use it through PayPal. PayPal moving into the space with 350 million users is a big deal, and these people are going to see Bitcoin. They're going to see that symbol, but what Bitcoin do they see? Do they see our Bitcoin, the real Bitcoin, the decentralized Bitcoin not controlled by anyone and no authority, or do they see the Bitcoin as used by PayPal? It's a very serious question and one that we need to seriously consider because, as it says in this article, if cryptocurrency gets flooded by millions of people from PayPal's version of Bitcoin being used on PayPal's ecosystem, what happens to us? Do our voices get drowned out by that? It's a very interesting question, and if you would like, we can make an entirely dedicated video on it because this is a pretty big piece of news and a very important argument for the future of the cryptocurrency fundamentals and adoption. Guys, at the end of the day, we have to go back to why was Bitcoin created. It was created for decentralization and non-inflation. Those are two of the biggest reasons that Bitcoin was created. This is a centralized method of using Bitcoin if you can't take it off of PayPal. I do still think it's a good thing for price action, but is it a good thing for the space? I think it's probably overall a net gain, but just because it's a net gain doesn't mean it comes with no downsides. The downside being that PayPal all of a sudden is going to have a lot of people using Bitcoin on their platform, and they're going to have a say in how those people think about Bitcoin. Make no mistake, tech companies, their main product is the thoughts and experiences and minds of their users. It's not what you think it is. Facebook's #1 product is you because they're advertising you. You are not Facebook's customer. You are Facebook's product. Advertisers are Facebook's customer. And the same is true for all of these companies to one degree or another. So guys, I caution you, make sure you're thinking for yourself because it's quite easy to look at news like PayPal and say, oh, this is just overall absolutely 100% positive for Bitcoin. Again, I think it's a net benefit for Bitcoin, but we do have to consider all aspects of this development. Guys, that's my current take on the market. I would love to hear what you think in the comment section down below. Do you believe that Bitcoin is going to head back to $20,000 in the next 3 months? Do you believe that PayPal stepping into the space with its 350 million users is going to be what we need to drive us there? And do you think that Bitcoin needs to consolidate for a week or so to lock in these gains, build some support levels, and start having Bitcoin pull back below 80 on the RSI, which is massively overextended and pulling back into Bollinger Bands? Healthy territory. Let us know what you think about all of that in the comment section down below. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much going to wrap it out for today's video. Before we go, though, I do want to mention the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy because CT2A is a one-stop shop. But before we go, I do want to mention the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy because, as you guys know, this channel is only possible because of our CT2A. Over the last 2 years that we've been running the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, we have seen thousands of students go through our program and learn what they need to know to get started doing analysis and start trading and investing profitably in the cryptocurrency space. It's incredibly important that you invest in your education now more than ever. Volatility is very high right now. There's a lot of money to be made, but only if you know what you're doing. Because if you don't know what you're doing, there's a lot of money to be lost. The difference between an unprofitable and a profitable, the difference between an unprofitable and a profitable and even super profitable trader is their level of expertise and knowledge about the space. You must invest in your education if you ever hope to be successful in cryptocurrency, and that is why we created the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, so that you can do that. If you're interested, there is an active coupon code down in the comment section down below. And before you ask, yes, we do accept Bitcoin payments. Anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it out for today's video. I do want to plug our Instagram one more time because we're working very hard on it. At CryptoJeb, go follow us over there. Anyway, guys, like I said, that is going to wrap it out for today's video. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.